The definition of young adults is based on age, but we could be at all different places in our lives. We could be in our early 20s and have children. We could be in our late 30s and not have children, and anywhere in between. We could have grown up in this state our entire lives, or we could have just recently moved here and not know anyone. So it's important for us to make spaces for anyone who falls into that category and recognizes himself as a young adult who wants to be involved in the church.
I just feel like the Episcopal Church is home for us. My husband was raised Catholic and I was Presbyterian, so finding a church that we both felt comfortable in was super important to both of us and a really big challenge. So it took us a couple years after marriage to find the Episcopal Church, and All Saints in particular has been so welcoming.
The community, that's what I'm looking for. I think that's what draws people back, is when you feel part of something bigger than you and something important. Especially as Southerners, we love to be part of a community. So that's the reason I keep going back to church.
The other thing I love about the Episcopal Church is that it is global. I think it's amazing that I could go to an Episcopal church across the world and I would be saying the same prayers as people here in the Diocese of Alabama.
So you're kind of this point in your life where you're in a transition professionally and emotionally, and you're becoming like a real adult, and then you maybe lose that relationship with God, and this kind of group kind of brings people together in the same point in their life where, you know, they don't have a family. And a lot of people who come to church once they have kids, they feel like that's what you're supposed to do. So a lot of us, you know, when we started this group, didn't have kids. So it's a good way to talk things through and, you know, talk about your doubts and what your struggles are.
It's not just a place where I would show up on Sundays. It includes a group of people who show up when my dad passed away. You know, like that was important to me. I feel like I knew people well enough, not only in just a fun atmosphere, but also a spiritual worshiping community where I could actually be vulnerable, so that when big life events do happen, I had a group of people who said, "We're here, and what do you need?" And I think that should be a big part of why we come together and worship, is so that we can be fed and feed each other, because we're interdependent. And for us to not really recognize that, especially as young adults, it can be really isolating. So it's important to have a group of people who come together to learn about the Bible, to learn about each other, to learn about themselves, and really grow and mature spiritually together.
Bring people from outside of the Episcopal Church, young people, because everybody needs a little prayer, right?
One of the processes of visioning for the Episcopal Church that I hope to see is, how do we harness that global power to really name and speak to issues that affect us globally. I want an Episcopal Church that speaks about stewardship of the earth and how we as a faith community can address our misuse of our resources and the effects of climate change. That's important to me. I want a church that is not only global in its practice, but global in its mindset, because when we do global well, we're also then challenged about asking how we do the local well, and they're all tied together.
If you could have a way for all young adults across the diocese, just like campus ministry and youth ministry do, to communicate and work together and to build things where you could say, we're going to do a Saturday program once a month and we're going to rotate cities. Mm-hmm. And this is something that I've heard young adults say that they're interested in.
Really being able to listen to everyone who is within the young adult group and hear what their needs are and how we can meet those will be crucial to what this looks like in the next couple of years.
We started the Young Adult Ministries Steering Committee, for lack of a better name, because it seemed that there was a big energy around young adult ministries in the diocese. but nobody knew really where to direct that energy. We started the young adults retreat a couple of years ago. The biggest question at the end of the weekend was, what do we do now? How do we keep connected? How can we start an event in our area? How do we do whatever it is? And so we, as young adults and members of the diocesan staff, got together and decided to at least get started somewhere. And so the Young Adult Ministry Steering Committee started at the beginning and said, what is a young adult? Why is this important? Why is this important to us? Why is it important to the church? What is going to be the goal of this committee? And we're still in the beginning process of all that, but are at least beginning the conversation of young adults are looking for a place in the church and they're looking for a way to stay connected, and how do we help them along that process?